Hello students, so this is our last lesson for quarter 2 in Science 7, identifying food chains within a food web. So the following are the guide all throughout our lesson. So can you describe what a food chain is and provide an example from the forest ecosystem we discussed earlier? How does energy flows through a food chain, starting from producers and ending with top predators. What role do consumers play in this flow of energy? Now let's think beyond individual food chains. How do multiple food chains connect to form a complex network known as a food web? Can you explain why food webs are more realistic representations of energy flow in ecosystems compared to simple food chains? Alright, so let's discuss the difference between a food chain and a food web and the different components of organism category within a food chain. So what is a food web? So a food web is a diagram that shows how energy and nutrients flow through an ecosystem. It's made up of many food chains connected together like a big network of who eats whom in nature. So let's have the main parts of the food web. First is the producer or producers. These are plants like grasses in the picture. They make their own food using sunlight through photosynthesis. All energy in the food web starts from them. Second part is the primary consumers or the herbivores. These animals eat the producers or the plants. In the picture, the grasshopper, the mouse, the rabbit eat grasses. They get energy directly from the plants. The third part are the secondary consumers or the carnivores. These animals eat the herbivores. In the picture, frog eats grasshoppers. Bird eats insects like grasshoppers. Owl eats the mouse. Snake eats the frog or bird. Then we have the tertiary consumers or the top predators. These are the top hunters. No one in the web eats them, or very few do. In the picture, hawk and fox are top predators. The hawk might eat the snake or the owl. The fox might eat the rabbit or mouse. So how energy flows? Energy moves from the sun to the plants, then to the herbivores, then to the carnivores, then to the top predators. Each arrow in the food web shows the direction of energy flow, who is being eaten, and who gets the energy. So why it's called a web? It's called a web because animals often have more than one food source. For example, the hawk can eat both snake and owl. The fox can eat both rabbit and mouse. This shows how interconnected life is in nature. So why food webs are important? They show the balance of nature. If one organism disappears, it can affect all the others. For example, if grasshoppers die out, frogs and birds will lose food. This can disturb the whole ecosystem. So in summary, the flow of energy is from the sun, then to the grass or grasses, then to the mouse or rabbit, or grasshopper, then to the snake or owl or fox or hawk. So what do you think is the advantage of having a meal that is mainly composed of vegetables? How much did you know about the food web before you started this? So the big idea here is the ultimate source of energy on Earth is the sun. The end of all energy in ecosystem is to be lost as heat. So in the picture, it shows a food chain. So what is a food chain? So it shows how energy and nutrients move from one living thing to another. It's a simple straight line showing who eats whom in an ecosystem. Each step in the food chain is called a trophic level. So let's go through the steps in the picture. The sun, it's the main source of energy for all life on Earth. Plants use sunlight to make food through photosynthesis. The plants are the producers. They make their own food using sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. They are called producers because they produce food for others. The grasshopper are the primary or is the primary consumer here. It eats the plants, getting energy from them. It's a herbivore, meaning it only eats plants. Then we have the mouse. It's the secondary consumer. The mouse eats the grasshopper. It's a secondary consumer, an omnivore or small carnivore that eats other animals. Then the snake, the tertiary consumer. The snake eats the mouse. It's a carnivore. It only eats other animals. Then the eagle, the top predator or quaternary consumer. The eagle eats the snake. It's the top of the food chain because no other animal hunts it. Then we have the decomposers. When the eagle dies, fungi and bacteria break down its body into nutrients. These nutrients go back into the soil, helping plants grow again, and the cycle continues. So the flow of energy from the sun, then to the plants, then to the grasshopper, then to the mouse, then to the snake, then to the eagle, then to the decomposers, then to the soil, then to the plants. So energy flows in one direction, from the sun to producers, then through consumers, and finally back to the environment through decomposers. So producers make food, consumers eat other living things, decomposers recycle nutrients. Energy decreases as you go up the food chain. That's why there are fewer top predators like eagles. Now let's answer these questions. Which of the following groups of organisms is responsible for the breaking down of bodies of dead organisms? Next, which of the following groups of organisms obtain their food and energy by feeding on other animals? Next, why are plants considered producers? Next, which of those or of these animals is a first-order consumer? Then, which of the following food chains is in its correct order? Which among the following levels of ecological organization is arranged from the lowest level to the highest level? Then which abiotic factor has the greatest influence on the productivity of plants? Then what do you call the environment wherein there is interaction between and among living and non-living things? Then what do you call an interaction of food chains? Examine the diagram. Which type of consumer are rats? Which of the animals in the diagram is the top predator? Which trophic level has the greatest stored energy? Examine the food web diagram. Which type of consumers are small birds? Which of the following organisms belongs to the decomposers group? Then why are grass and shrubs considered producers? And you may correct your answers from here. Alright, so this ends our lesson for the second quarter in Science 7. For our next meeting, I'm going to announce your performance task or suggested performance task for this quarter. See you!